I assume by now you're ready to talk about how to really sell. And one of the key elements of selling is getting information. But information from somebody who you really haven't met before isn't as easy as it appears. First of all, we have to consider that there's 35% of the way we communicate is verbal. 65% is nonverbal. So the first question I usually ask people is, are they making the impression they want to make? I want you to also consider that there are two first impressions. The impression that you make on the person you're speaking to, as well as the impression that they make on you, because you react to that. So we have two first impressions. But that isn't really the key. The key is, what are the questions you want to ask? There are three basic questions that you need to focus on when you're visiting with somebody for the first time. Now, let's first establish something. What's the one thing that you know about somebody that you're meeting for the first time? That one thing is that they're not doing business with you, yet we don't use that information. We don't use that information when we set up our conversation. For example, here's something kind of ridiculous. You walked into somebody's office and there's a large brown cow in the office. I want you to visualize that. And you can imagine what that looks like. There's a cow in the office. You would immediately say, how come there's a brown cow in the office? It's kind of ridiculous. You'd have to say that. But the fact of the matter is, when you go to see somebody, there is a cow in the office. There is the gorilla in the office. That is, they're using somebody else's product. But we don't say that. We don't actually address that issue. Suppose instead of starting your conversation with, Mr. Prospect, let me tell you all about what I do, you asked a very simple question and said, gee, I'm just curious, how come you're not using our product? You might find that you get a different kind of answer than you're getting now. You might find they've never thought about it, or if they thought about it, they rejected it. You want to understand the buying process. And so therefore, what we really want to talk about is what people do, how they do it, when they do it, where they do it, who they do it with, why they're doing it that way, and ultimately you're going to help them do it better. So let's just look at this for a second. You meet somebody for the first time. You shake hands with them. There's a nonverbal transition from that moment into your questioning. And the three basic questions that you want to ask are about the past, the present, and the future, and how and why they've decided to do the things they've done in that order. You want to know their past, what they've done in the past, how and why they've done it that way. What they're presently doing, how and why they're doing it that way. What they're trying to accomplish, how and why they're doing it that way. But asking those questions alone aren't going to give you the information, because people don't open up that quickly. So what we're going to do instead is start out with an opening